everyone, it's me, Miss Susan, and yes, you are looking at a picture of a rainforest. Today I'm about to give you the lesson on introducing biomes. What is a biome? A biome, you see, the easiest way I can think of to describe what a biome is this. It is a place in the earth that shares a lot of the same characteristics or traits as other places on the earth. So here are some of the things that they share. They usually share temperatures, so it's either hot, cold, in between, but they're very similar to each other. They share soil type, so food grows easily, food doesn't grow easily, it's deep, it's shallow, that kind of thing. And they also share animals, and they share plants. That's an easy way to kind of define what a biome is. So let's start with, because we're studying the rainforest, let's start with the rainforest biome. What is it about all rainforests that they have in common? Let's find out. There are two kinds of rainforests, actually. There's a tropical rainforest, which is the one we're studying, and there's also a temperate rainforest. That one is it's cooler, pretty much. But we're going to stick with the tropical one for now. For the most part, they're lush and warm all year round, and most of the animals and birds are very active, okay? So there's the rainforest. There you go. We know that the soil there is not very healthy. It's very shallow, and it's full of decay and debris that gets eaten and processed quickly by the guys on the forest floor. There's the forest floor. Yucky. I wouldn't want to step there. That is a tropical rainforest. Now, a temperate rainforest is cooler. They have more defined seasons, so they have a wet winter and a short summer, and most of the animals live on the floor. Now, the birds are very, very important in both rainforests. Do you know why? Because their droppings carry seeds, and the seeds grow into new plants, and the rainforests keep going and going. Rainforests, two kinds. That is your first biome, rainforest. Let's move on to this one. The Arctic tundra. Woo! That's very different than a rainforest, isn't it? The tundra is the coldest of all of the biomes. There is not much rainfall. The winters are super long. The summers are super, super short. There are lichens, moss, and shrubs that are found here. And a lot of the animals that live here hibernate during the hardest parts of the winter. I would too. Most of them have babies in the summer. I would too. Now, animals that live here are animals like polar bears, reindeer, puffins, they're so cute, Arctic hare, snowy owl, an Arctic fox, a seal. All the animals that you think of when you think about places like Antarctica are what you might find in the Arctic tundra, the coldest biome of all. So now we've done rainforest, tundra. Let's move over to the desert. Wow. The desert biome makes up about a fifth of the whole earth. That's pretty big. Some major deserts that you might have heard of before are ones like the Sahara Desert, the Gobi Desert, the Arabian Desert. There are storms here, definitely. But most of the storms in the desert are dust storms. There are weeds that tumble around on the ground, and there are three kinds of deserts. There's a cold desert, a hot desert, and a coastal desert. And we'll learn more about those too. A lot of the animals that live here are cold-blooded. I wonder why. Why don't you think about that? Think about it. It's like a turtle. Meerkats, scorpions, snakes, camels, eagles, bats, and the plants that grow here are cacti and yucca plants and succulent plants, things that have a different way they have adapted to living in this very dry, hot, or cold desert of a place. That, my friend, is a desert. Now you've learned about a rainforest, Arctic tundra, and a desert. Let's stop and take a look at this map. This shows us where certain of the biomes are. So we learned about a rainforest. The rainforest is shown here, the tropical, remember we're doing tropical, in the dark green. And I want you to notice something. Dark green, and there's a line. See that line? All the dark green seems to be pretty much right around that line. That's called the equator line. And that's where the weather in the world is always the hottest. Interesting. That's where the rainforests seem to be, in the dark green. Now, if you look again at this brown color right here, that is a desert. So it looks like there are deserts kind of close near the rainforest sometimes. Look, Australia's got some. It looks like there's some in North America for sure, not near us. South America has desert, and Africa and Asia both have deserts. Now, I wonder if you could guess which one is purple. If you said tundra, you were right. The tundra is how far away from the equator? About as far as you can get. And if the weather is warm at the equator, you know it's super cold on the opposites, right? Very nice. Now, next one. Here we go. I'm going to try not to turn this camera so much. This is called a wetland or a swamp. Have you been to a swamp before? Because I have. They are pretty cool. They are made up of any body of water that is standing still and is low. Could be a pond, but not really. Usually they're swamps, marshes, and bogs. They're humid. That means they're sticky hot. And they're moist, which means that they're wet and sticky hot. And they house a lot of birds and insects and amphibians. They're really, some of the animals that live here are endangered. And look, I want to point something out to you. Look at the roots of that tree. Similar to something else you've seen, isn't it? Swamps. There are swamps all around us, but we don't live in one. We live somewhere else. We are living here in Virginia in something that is called a temperate forest. Does that look a little familiar? So temperate forests share a lot of things, and one of them is that they have seasons. We have pretty specific seasons, don't we? And the animals mainly live on the forest floor. There they are. But you know, we also have birds and stuff like that that fly and flap and do fun things with themselves. But the temperate forests are definitely, oh, excuse me. Temperate forests are where we live. Virginia, the most of Virginia is actually a temperate forest. Now there are some sub-biomes, like mountains and such, that you could also say, okay, maybe I could say that, I guess, that I live on a mountain if I was in Floyd. But it is also considered a temperate forest. I absolutely love forests. Animals like deer. What else can you think of around here? Chipmunks. I love chipmunks. We have certain kinds of snakes. We have lots of birds. Rainforest has harpy eagles. We have bald eagles. Rainforest does too. We have birds that are very colorful, like cardinals and blue jays. There are bears in forests. This is a forest. So now, rainforest, Arctic tundra, the desert, a swamp, and a temperate forest, which is, on our map, the light green. So look, not too far from the equator, but not as close as this or the desert sometimes. This is us right here, right about there in the temperate forest. A lot of the United States, as you see, is temperate forest. The last one I'm teaching you today is this. It's the grassland. It's flat, isn't it? It looks super flat, super duper flat. Let's see what we can learn about anything about the grasslands. Grasslands, tell me some about you. You see, grassland it's always very flat. The weather is good for crop growing most of the time. The soil is usually very fertile and good for that as well. Animals that live here range from lots of insects to some amphibians and reptiles. This is actually one of the biomes that is in the U.S. Here, let me show you. here we are again. There's us, Virginia. This is grassland over here. See it right here? This yellowish gold color. And that's right in the Midwest, it's called. Kansas and those states. When you drive through, you really notice a difference going from the temperate forests where there are mountains and hills into right here where you get into this grassland and it's perfectly flat. And then down here you get into the desert, right? And the desert is a totally different biome with a different set of animals. You guys, this is basic biomes. Let's look at them again. I see a swamp, a desert, a grassland, an Arctic tundra, a forest, and a rainforest. Now, there's another one that's really big, and these are called terrestrial biomes, meaning they are on the earth. But there's another one. It's an aquatic biome. Aqua meaning water. So the ocean or marine biome is another large one. But we are studying terrestrial biomes for now. So have Mom and Dad check the links because I have some follow-up activities for this first lesson on biomes. And I'm going to be doing another lesson on biomes later and posting it, which is going to talk about some of the animals and how they've adapted to live in these different biomes. And then we'll talk a little about what is an ecosystem and what is a habitat. I'm pretty excited to share this with you as we continue learning about this biome, the beautiful magical rainforest. Goodbye to you from me here in the biome of the temperate forest. I hope to see you soon, whether it's on a computer or in person. Lots of love. Bye, guys.